You take apart the building where it is as quickly as possible in a very easy way so that it doesn't disturb Amtrak. You don't try to rehabilitate it, renovate it on the tracks where it can fall down and hurt someone. You know, where it would be for 3 years while they're working on it, and so many bad things could happen. You say, no, we're going to take it and we're actually going to bring it to the river where it could be used better for all kinds of things. And don't worry, Amtrak, we're going to put actually something very simple, this bubble bridge that's actually quite beautiful, painted steel, that actually will make somewhere else, and in 2 to 3 days will just plop down, so you don't have to worry.
Right.
So we're saying we're doing this. Our main thing now is we have to go talk to Amtrak. We want to approach them in some way. So far, many people have really responded positively to the project. And now we're saying, this is easy, don't worry. So that's one part about the taxes. What's the most difficult thing about the project? The most difficult thing is that it's on the Amtrak track.
Amtrak wants to get rid of it. They own this thing, right? Because they own the right of way. They bought, when Amtrak was created by the United States federal government, whatever, they made Amtrak, American Track, right? Amtrak. They got this railroad, and when they got the railroad, they own this railroad, and they own anything on it. So this thing that's sitting on top of it is theirs. Right? They are willing to sell it to any stakeholder for, who knows, as little as $1. Seriously. The problem is once you bought it for $1, the liability is yours. If this thing falls down, it's up to you to do something about it. So, nobody wants to buy it even for $1. Like, we would love to buy it for $1, but then what do? Right? So the issue is, when you guys say, well, how can we help? We have to figure out the whole process first, and then buy it from Amtrak for $1 and do what we need to do to it in a safe way. So we need to raise money for it, we need to raise awareness, we need to get the Bronx Borough President involved, we need to get the 3 community boards that are in the neighborhood involved. So there's, was it 3, 7, and 9?
No, 2, 3, and 9.
Oh, 2, 3, and 9. 2, 3, and 9. Sorry. Not my numbers. Yeah, what am I talking about? 7. 2, 3, and 9.
Yeah.
So 2, 3, 9, they're right at that corner, actually. 2 and 3 meet, and then 9 is on the other side, right? So you need, there's a certain amount of money per year that these community boards have towards community projects. You could put that together. There are a whole bunch of ways to do this. You can get private funding, all sorts of things. So I'm trying to explain it could be done. I mean,
that seems like the smaller obstacle to me. The bigger stuff, all right, two things are very important for this building. One of them is the whole issue about Amtrak, and the other thing is that it's very important that when this does get moved to the water, that it gets used. That it's used in a useful way, that it doesn't then become decrepit again. I mean, we could imagine that it gets rehabilitated on the tracks, but Amtrak doesn't allow people to use it, and then the same thing happens. So what you want to do is create a situation in which people in the neighborhood, or you guys going down there to use the park, use the building. Already there are no bathrooms in Concrete Plant Park, so the main thing we want to do with the head house is you walk into that big room, and that big room is someplace you can learn about the park, get information about the greenway, but then in the back room where the baggage used to be, and there used to be a staircase going down, we put bathrooms.
Right.
And that's something, we've been talking a lot, this whole project, we've been learning a lot from the Bronx River Alliance, and asking them things. They said, the first thing they said to us is, this park doesn't have bathrooms. We need bathrooms, so, even on the practical level, this would be extremely important.
This building, that head house, is attached, it's been attached to the main water main for the last 100 years, but no one's been using it, clearly, since the 1930s. But it's got piping, so it is a simple idea to think, okay, let's rehabilitate that and build bathrooms in here. That's the place you do it. Part of the reason why there are no bathrooms, and the Parks Department made this park, and they didn't do it with bathrooms, is because there's no water supply. You're on the river, but there's no place to put the toilets. Unless you do compost toilets. We could do compost toilets. But
yeah, we say compost toilets in the waiting room. Right.
So I think people are saying Amtrak also, so there's also a plan, right? I don't want to confuse you. What? To build a bridge on 172nd, right? The dead end of 172nd into Concrete Plant Park, right? The issue with that is that Amtrak not only owns the rail, they not only owns the buildings, they also own the air rights, right? So it's a certain feet up in the air that they own. So if they need to do any repairs or lines, if they want to, some of the bridges don't prepare for it, but if they want to double deck trains at some point, then, right? If they that they have that, and they're also concerned, as you know, if you walk on Westchester and you're walking past Concrete Plant Park, you also notice that there's a steel fence that goes up, right? Because they're concerned about people throwing things over, and they don't want people to see the trains out, right? So when we talk about having to build a better relationship, or not a better relationship, having to really talk to Amtrak and compromise, right? I think that this plan works because Amtrak doesn't want the structure hanging over, because that's the structure that's really compromised, right? It's not the strongest, right? It's been the one that's been hit by storms, which makes it still brittle, or whatever, right? So moving it over to the river is a really smart idea, and we've always wanted it. The history of Virginia, we've always wanted it to be some sort of welcoming station, because as you know, it's even hard to cross. It's hard to get into the park, right? It's also hard to cross a street if you're a pedestrian, if you're a biker, to get into Concrete Plant Park, unless you cross at Whitlock, or you cross at Bronx Avenue.
That's right. And right now, you see Concrete Plant Park, not every